What's up, guys? Edin Sehovic here from Evidence Nutrition, and we're gonna try something different today. We're gonna try to answer all of your questions on caffeine. We're gonna do it in a little bit of like a podcast format to try to be a little bit more like, I don't know, loose about it. So if I have any citations that I need to leave, we'll just kind of leave them in the show notes or at the end of the video. I'll find a way. I don't know. I've never done this before. So hopefully we can get through it and answer all of your questions caffeine related. And if you guys do enjoy this, make sure you comment, share it, do whatever so that I know that you like it so that I can continue to make more of it, because like that's how feedback works. And if there's something you dislike about it, leave a comment, let me know how I can improve it to better suit your needs. And if you guys want to get involved in the next one, make sure that when I put up the Q&As, you just type in your question. That's all you got to do. It's that easy. I'll probably be posting this first to my subscribers only so that they can get a sneak peek, give me their feedback, and then I will let everyone else see it. So without further ado, we got a ton of questions over here. So we're going to get ourselves into it. First question, is caffeine still effective as a suppository? I'm not going to lie to you. I got to look up what a define suppository. A solid medical preparation in a roughly conical or cylindrical shape designed to be inserted into the rectum or vagina to dissolve. I wouldn't. Quick one, nice and easy. Where's my high dose creatine and caffeine and alpha GPC drink? What? Where's my high dose creatine plus caffeine plus alpha GPC energy drink? I'm not sure how to answer that question, to be honest with you. Energy drinks like Red Bull, Monster, etc. What is your honest opinion on these? I think that depending on what you're trying to do with your life or with those things, it depends, but ultimately they're not unhealthy for you, you know? Monsters are in a different category from Red Bull. Red Bull are typically a little bit lower in caffeine than other energy drinks across the board. They're usually just smaller also, but they are pretty high in caffeine. So one thing you want to make sure is you're not having them too late in the day so that it doesn't impact your sleep, but they could be definitely used as a great tool to, one, just wake you up if you prefer that over coffee, and two, well, for sport performance, because we know that caffeine can aid in sport performance, so using that as a tool to do so. So what do I think of it? By all means. Fasting, when and how to consume. Well, given this question is about caffeine, fasting, when and how to consume. Well, if you're fasting, you're probably going to want to consume it pretty early on because you're not going to have a lot of calories and you're going to get tired very quickly. So as soon as possible, I guess. Why doesn't caffeine work on me? It only gives me anxiety while I'm still tired. So caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors in the brain. And oh my gosh, I'm struggling with this format. I keep stumbling my words. Okay, let's see if I can get this without stuttering. So caffeine works on adenosine receptors in the brain. I want you to think of these adenosine receptors in the brain as like little chairs, okay? So caffeine is like a hyperactive kid that needs to run in and sit on the chairs. By running in and sitting on the chairs, it stops the tired from sitting in the chairs. And if the tired sits in the chairs, it's going to make the whole rest of your body feel tired. But because the hyperactive kid comes and sits in on a chair, it blocks the ability for tired to sit on all the chairs. And then that way, you are now feeling more alert or less tired. Caffeine doesn't actually give you more energy per se, it just makes you feel less tired. It can also reduce the rate of perceived exertion you have in different sporting situations. As for why does it give you anxiety? Well, that's probably a lot of caffeine. And if you're still tired afterwards, you might just need sleep. How much caffeine is too much caffeine? The average person should not consume over 400 milligrams. Of course, the average person does consume over 400 milligrams, and by a large significant margin. I think the average, if I had to check, what does the average person consume in caffeine per day? That's a really weird way of Googling that. So about 80% of the world's population consumes caffeine every day with a daily intake of equal to or greater than 200 milligrams per day, equivalent to around 3 espresso cups per day. Those are really small espresso cups, by the way, like European style. And that's according to the NIH. If you're curious about learning more about that, it's from a paper called The Consumption of Caffeine-Containing Products to Enhance Sport Performance, an application of an extended model of the theory of planned behavior. PMID 33498924. All right, next question. No caffeine with creatine, right? But how long before or after? So first of all, the first part of the statement, or I guess the statement has to be true in order for the question to be valid, but it's not. So caffeine doesn't inhibit creatine absorption, and we have no reason to believe that. We do have some research done on the topic, not a ton, but it doesn't. So you don't need to worry about that. So how long before or after? Take your creatine whenever it's convenient for you. This isn't a post about creatine. This is about caffeine. If I drink enough coffee to cause a heart attack, will I twitch a lot post-mortem? Is it bad to consume caffeine after a certain point in the day? Absolutely. So caffeine typically has a half-life of about 3 to 6 hours. Half-life, meaning that is half of the time required for it to get out of your body. No, sorry. It is the time it takes to eliminate half of it out of your body. Yeah. So if you consume, let's say 100 milligrams, you'll only get rid of about 50 milligrams 3 to 6 hours later. So just keep that in mind depending on when you'd like to be going to bed. But that's typically why when people consume a lot of soda in the evening, like a Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke or whatever, these little things, if you're consuming them at nighttime, that might actually impact your sleep. But if you consume just a small one, it might not impact your sleep too much. But if you consume like multiple of them or a large bottle or something like that, then you'll start to notice your sleep is being impaired because you're probably having a lot more caffeine on board than you bargained for. So I would say 6 hours out from sleep, try not to take any, or from the time that you are trying to get to sleep, try not to be consuming any more large caffeinated beverages. So I would say that a small one like this, I mean, these have what, 40 milligrams, 50 milligrams. I would say anything more than that, you probably want to avoid. The general recommendation is about 8 hours before bed, try to avoid any caffeinated beverages. That's a good rule of thumb. Why does some caffeine bloat me and others don't? Internal gut issues, or is it the dyes? So off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that's caffeinated that has food coloring in it, with the exception of maybe Mountain Dew. But in that case, anything that I can think of that has like coloring in it, maybe like a Mountain Dew Code Red, literally the two things I can think of are both Mountain Dew, they're all carbonated. So carbonated beverages, especially if you drink it with a straw, can actually impact your bloating and make you feel more bloated. So that is something you want to look at. It's probably less to do with the caffeine though. Caffeine wouldn't normally bloat you. So if you feel like you are getting bloated from your caffeine sources, think about what are your caffeine sources. It won't be bloating you from just coffee. And if it is bloating you from coffee, is it because you're having milk and you're lactose intolerant maybe, or something like that, right? Take a step back, try to critically think and evaluate the situation. What are you consuming? And then from there, you can maybe start to, eliminate, or by process of elimination, figure out what it is that's causing the bloating. If all of the nutrient needs are met and I'm still sluggish, is 150 to 300 milligrams okay? I mean, 150 to 300 milligrams is okay. We talked about it earlier. Anything under 400 milligrams is okay. But if you're still feeling sluggish after that, maybe you should consider getting to bed a little bit sooner, start taking steps like not sleeping with your phone, turning off your lights early, making sure there's no blue lights or really bright lights near you when you're trying to get to bed. Give yourself like a solid hour of just like chill time before you need to get to bed. Or try to do something that like is super relaxing, like reading. For me, I don't love reading, but I mean, I read a lot of literature and that can fire me up. But like, I don't love leisure reading. You know what I mean? Just picking up a book and sitting in bed, because it puts me to sleep. So negative of that is it just puts me to sleep. But the positive of that is it puts me to sleep. So I know that I can at least do that to help myself get an extra few hours and then, just not have to worry about taking as much caffeine, right? And then when you have good sleep, you'll have better recovery. When you have better sleep, you'll also consume fewer calories because you'll likely improve your hormonal balance, which dictates your hunger cues and your satiety cues, hunger and satiety cues. Before an early morning sports practice, how much? I don't want to butcher this because I know that the International Society of Sport Nutrition has a position stand on this. Okay, so caffeine has consistently been shown to improve exercise performance when consumed in doses of 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram of body mass. So for me, I weigh about 100 kilograms, 102, but whatever, for easy math, 100. That would be 300 to 600 milligrams per kilogram of my body, or 300 milligrams for me, 300 to 600 milligrams for me. The minimal effective dose of caffeine currently remains unclear, but they may be as low as 2 milligrams per kilogram of body mass. So for me, that's 200 milligrams. So an energy drink like this Gorilla Mind, code evidence, that would have just enough caffeine for it to be, a sport performance benefit for me. And candidly, anecdotally speaking, this is usually more than enough caffeine for me to get me fired up and getting that sport performance benefit. The one thing, and I'm very glad this paper does a great job of pointing out, is the very high dose of caffeine, that being 9 milligrams per kilogram. 9 milligrams per kilogram of body weight is associated with a high incidence of side effects and do not seem to be required to elicit an ergogenic effect. So you're not getting the same benefit from the caffeine when you're consuming higher doses. It's not just like the more the merrier. There is kind of that perfect spot, and it is different for all people. Like for myself, 600 milligrams I could do, but it definitely would feel like, I got monkeys jumping out of my pants kind of thing. How would you suggest prepping for a 5K? Well, as we were just discussing, I would probably, in the form of caffeine, I would probably make sure that I get a lot of rest and make sure that probably within, the hour before that you have like 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine, depending on your size. But for me, 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine. 5K is only about, for me, a 30 to 40 minute run. At a competition pace, 30 minute, I'm thinking, but 40 minute, I literally did over 5K pace. Like I did over 5K yesterday, 2 days ago. And I did it at 38 minutes, but I did a little over 5K. So yeah. Do you wait a certain amount of time in the day before having caffeine? I mean, I try to wake up before having caffeine, but that's just like a personal challenge more than anything. Get my morning routine done beforehand. I really have this mental battle with myself, and this is again anecdote, but that's kind of what is required of the question. I just don't want to feel like I'm dependent on anything, so that's why I wait a little bit. Not because of any research there, that there might be some potential benefit to waiting, 90 minutes before having your first cup of coffee. I don't typically wait that long, but it might be like 60 minutes tops kind of thing. Anything after that, and it's just, I don't need to have it at all kind of thing. If it doesn't prevent you from falling asleep, is there still a cutoff time? Yeah. Just because it doesn't prevent you from falling asleep, which is called sleep latency, doesn't mean that it doesn't affect your sleep quality. And we have plenty of research to support that it does impact your sleep quality, despite not affecting your sleep latency or the time it takes for you to get to sleep. So I would definitely say still have the cutoff time. Think about at least 6 hours before bed. You will see a massive improvement in your recovery as a result of having better sleep quality. Especially if you're someone who's regularly consuming these drinks in the evening, or I presume these drinks. It could be from chocolate, I guess, getting that much caffeine. But if you're eating that much caffeine from chocolate, then we have to have a separate conversation. You're consuming way too many calories, even as an athlete. That's crazy. Does source matter? Coffee, tea, powder, etc. I'm going to say no, but yes at the same time. So no for the caffeine source, strictly speaking, but yes in the sense that all of them offer something different. Coffee has antioxidants. Tea has certain antioxidants. Tea also has L-theanine in it. The pre-workout powders, they have multiple different ingredients like pump products or things like beta-alanine, which makes, that thing that makes your skin itch. Like all of these things are slightly different in a sense. If there was some magic world where you could just compare 200 milligrams to 200 milligrams to 200 milligrams and just take the caffeine out of each source, then no, it wouldn't matter. But the reality is you can't do that. Coffee is bean sweat. Tea has L-theanine, especially green and black teas. Also, pre-workout might have some L-theanine in it, but it'll have also other things like carnitine and beta-alanine and other things to help you improve your workout and your focus throughout the workout. It might have some nootropics as well. And some energy drinks as well. Like this one has some nootropics in it, tyrosine, alpha-GPC, things like that. So does it matter? Yes and no. When is it too late in the day to drink coffee or consume any caffeine? So we kind of talked about that. I would say if we need to set a time, I would say about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, that's assuming that you're someone who works a 9 to 5, has to kind of wake up before work and do things before work or commute before work. So I would say 3 p.m., if you don't have to wake up that early, 4 p.m. is kind of a general cutoff, assuming you want to get to bed by 10:30, right? Give it at least 6 hours before bed. And then you can still that way have that afternoon pick-me-up coffee or whatever it is that you feel like you need to have. Fuck, kill, marry, pre-workout, coffee, cottage cheese. Well, cottage cheese doesn't have any caffeine, so I feel like I have to kill it, even though I love it, and I will kill an entire package of it. I mean, I eat in phases. I'm back in eating a cottage cheese phase. So I'll eat it every day, and then I'll stop after 3 months. But I'll eat it every day for 3 months. I'm crazy like that. Let me know if you're also crazy like that. Yeah. And then I would probably marry coffee because coffee's reliable. It's going to give you the same performance all the time. Fuck is you kind of want a crazy fuck, right? I'm going pre-workout. You want it to be crazy. You want to be itchy, off the sauce. So you know what? I feel comfortable with that. F pre-workout, coffee we're going to marry, and cottage cheese we're going to kill. But we love all of them, just to be clear. 300 milligram drinks aren't doing much now. How long of a reset break should I take? I'm starting to see a pattern here, guys. Are you guys like chronically not sleeping? Let's fix that, please. Tell us a fun fact about caffeine that you haven't told us yet. I already told you the fun story about the chairs and caffeine. What else can I tell you? When you take L-theanine along with caffeine, this isn't really a fun fact about caffeine, but when you take L-theanine in equal amounts to the caffeine, if not sometimes more, it'll actually result in improved focus than with just caffeine alone and reduced crash. So I don't know if that's like a fun fact or not, but that's why all of these supplement companies are now starting to put L-theanine in their products. But most supplement companies, in this energy drink included, they do not put enough L-theanine. And for the most part, it's obviously one cost, but the most part actually, when going into the back end, I've been lucky to be involved in the production side of some supplements, and L-theanine can impact the experience a little bit. So taking more or having equal caffeine to L-theanine, not to say that it impacts flavor, but it kind of does, and texture a little bit. What kind of milk do you like with your coffee? This is a great question. The best coffee creamer in the world, I think, is by the company called Silk. It's a hazelnut one. It's only 30 calories, per tablespoon. You only need 1 to 2 tablespoons, and it makes all coffees taste delicious. It works in iced coffee. It works in hot coffee. Seriously, both me and Jessie, after I got Jessie on this, she didn't try this until I got her on it 5 years ago. And so now we don't even go to Starbucks for a fun drink anymore. Like Starbucks used to be that place that you go to, okay, politics aside, whatever. You go to Starbucks when you want like a fun drink, right? You don't go there when you just want a black coffee. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you bougie like that. But I've never been the kind of person that does that because I'm a Tim Hortons boy through and through. But we used to go to Starbucks for fun drinks. Now I don't even do that. I literally at no point crave it because my coffee at home from just Nespresso with that creamer, it's goated. So that was a very passionate question. Hope that was good for you. What are your thoughts on the energy drink or the energy? Oh my God, guys, we need to fix grammar here. Bubbler? I gotta look this up. Bubbler? I've literally never seen this. Antioxidant sparkling water from Target. Well, first of all, this is American. Sorry, I've never seen it. Low glycemic. Well, most energy drinks are low glycemic. Oh God, this is going to be a fun lesson on marketing. So it says it's advertised as immune support. I'm curious what it is that'll do that. Gluten-free. Most energy drinks are also gluten-free. Vegan. Most energy drinks are also vegan. In fact, I can't name a single one that's not gluten-free, vegan, or low glycemic. And soy-free. Wow, that's fucking terrible. The marketing is so, they were like, hey, how many buzzwords can we fit on here? Well, this is technically true. Well, this is technically true. There was never anything non-vegan, gluten-free, or gluten-filled, high glycemic, unless they're the full sugar, like Red Bulls. There's nothing that's going to be high glycemic that's sugar-free. So all you have to do is create a sugar-free energy drink, and it's going to be all of those things. This is such a girly girl brand. Go off, queen. If you like the taste of it, whatever, looks good. 5 calories, 7 grams of carbs, and it's erythritol. Okay, so that explains why it's low glycemic. B12, this is literally like an energy drink. Okay, carbonated water, erythritol, stevia leaf extract. So normally when they put erythritol in it, especially in high quantities, it's because they use stevia, and stevia will kind of have this bitter aftertaste. So that's why they put erythritol in it. When they combine the two, it tastes more similar to sugar. So fun fact. Okay, yeah, so it is literally just a very low caffeine energy drink, effectively. If you like that kind of thing. Is all caffeine created equal? Coffee versus soda versus pre-workout feels different in my body. So as we talked about earlier, they have different ingredients along with them. The caffeine itself is created equal, but the other things are not. So soda is usually carbonated. Pre-workout may or may not be carbonated. If you have it in a can, it probably is carbonated, but if you have it in a powder, it's not carbonated, but it has other things that make you super itchy. So of course it's going to be different in your body, whereas coffee is usually lower in caffeine. If you could equate all of them together, it might be a more similar response, but pre-workout's always going to be the most different because it's going to have, most commonly, most pre-workouts have beta-alanine. They might have L-theanine. So, and if they don't have L-theanine, they're probably going to cause a pretty big crash. They might have citrulline or things like that, pump products. Is there any paper that says delaying coffee by 90 minutes after waking up helps with crashes? Look, I'm not familiar with anything that will drastically impact crashes of caffeine, but if you are looking for improvements in reduced crashing, you can use L-theanine. You can take it in a pill format, or you can change your caffeine source to have a caffeine source that does have L-theanine in it. Caffeine is a pre-workout. Yes, absolutely. Caffeine, as we talked about earlier, will aid in sport performance. It will vary from person to person based on the cytochrome P450 enzyme. So some people will have a larger, or I guess it's proposed that some people will have more or less of this enzyme and therefore be able to metabolize more or less caffeine as a result. So from person to person, it'll vary how much caffeine is, good or bad for you. Some people might need more, some people might need less. It's just important that you kind of start with less and work your way up, because it's better to do that and gain the benefits of caffeine than experience the drawbacks of caffeine and then be scared to use it again. Yeah. So caffeine is a pre-workout. Absolutely. Yes. It is a sport performer. It is a WADA approved. It is safe for sport performance. It is natty. It is all of the good things, and it might be beneficial in dealing with things like depression, is likely to be beneficial in preventing things like heart disease in the future. So I don't know how this looked like on your end, by the way. I just ripped through a lot of questions in less than 25-30 minutes. So if you guys enjoyed this, make sure you guys hit that follow button, or let me know how you feel about it. If you guys want to ask more questions, feel free to rip them in the comments below. If this was valuable to you, if it wasn't, also let me know. I don't know. I'm really struggling with this one because I'm trying to focus on all the questions. Maybe if this goes well, I'll upload it to my page on YouTube. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're seeing this. And if you guys want to see more podcast episodes or more things you want me to talk about, feel free to let me know. I will probably get better at it. The more that I do it, it is a skill like with anything else, and I'm nervous about it just because I hate sucking at things. But alas, hey, you got to walk the walk and talk the talk, right? I can't just say go do the damn thing and not be willing to go do the damn thing. So with all that said, remember, as we always say on this page, keep it simple, stupid. I love you guys. I want you guys to live a long and healthy and happy life. So if you want to do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button or follow wherever you are watching this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to leave me any feedback as well. Thanks, guys.